Let's talk about sex. I'm sure by now certain things are going through your mind. You're thinking about a penis entering a vagina, right? But that's not my focus for this video, because I want to address something very important as a mind surgeon, especially with respect to the human system as a soul. Okay? Man is a soul that lives in the physical body, which is powered by a spirit, the same spirit we have called God. When you look at the word critically, sexual intercourse, we all know what sexual is, right? Something that has to do with a sex organs, okay? And when I say sex organs, it goes beyond the male-female sex organs that we know, the penis and the vagina. Your skin can also act as a sex organ, depending on the context you're using it, okay? And then again, when you look at the word, the etymology of the word intercourse, is actually two Latin words at play, okay? Inter means between, and then cursus actually means running. So if you put the two of them together, it means running into or running in between. But the question I have for you is, what is actually running in between? What is the intercourse here? And that's what your mind hasn't come to. And that's my work as a mind surgeon, to bring your mind into. Sex goes beyond the physical entering and exit of the penis into a vagina. Yes, because the focus of this video is to address what is actually being engaged. I see sex as a trading exercise. You are either buying or you're selling. You are either taking or you're giving. And this is because the body has to obey a natural principle of equilibrium, where everything has to be in the balance. In basic science, when we go to the classroom, we've learned about the term diffusion, which is defined as molecules which is leaving a higher concentration to a lower concentration so that it's evenly distributed. It's the same thing that happens with us, especially with the life we live. And so if you're having sexual intercourse with someone, you're not just engaging your bodies, you are actually exchanging something. You're either buying or you're selling. But the question here is, what are you exchanging? I'll share that with you in a moment. I told you in the previous videos that man is largely a soul. And a soul is made up of the different information or data that has been acquired right from the spirit end or from the physical end through the body of a man. And so your personality is actually summed up in the amount of information that has customized you. I don't know if you get this. You are largely data. And that's why aside air, man's next artificial need is access to the internet, data. Because information is everything, information is powerful. As a matter of fact, your body is an embodiment of data. And that's why we practically give names to everything. You are either an XY or an XX chromosome. Why do we call that? Because it's an information. So when you are engaged in sexual intercourse, beyond the ecstasy and the pleasure, you are actually exchanging information. And that's why it's an intercourse. So this is what you're exchanging, data. And this is how it happens. So before I explain this, let me just chip in something very important to help you appreciate this whole process, okay? Usually we hear people say that if you want to test the discipline level of a man, give him access to sex, money, and power. And sometimes we also hear statements being made that somebody expressing disappointment when another person, he or she revered so much, falls victim to a sex scandal. And why is it so? Is it because the person is not disciplined or not? That's not the case. Even in cases where people are noted to be disciplined, can easily fall prey or victims to sex scandals or falling for sex that has been set up for them to fall into. But the reason why this happens is because there's another phenomenon or a route that is mostly not seen. Here's the point I'm trying to make. There are times when, as a matter of fact, normally when you engage in sexual intercourse, your mind has to be stimulated, especially for the female. So your mind is stimulated through what you see, what you're smelling, and what you're being told. I mean, through the interface of your five senses, right? And for males, it doesn't really work like that. It's more of sight. Once you see it, you gravitate towards it, and action occurs. But there's another route, right, where the reason why your sense of judgment and your mental faculty is not too activated, or the mental realm or your mind interface is passed by, is because of what I'm going to tell you. There's that part of sexual engagement where you are physically excited, your body is engaged, and then you reach a certain level of arousal because certain hormones are physically released into your physical system. So instead of it going through your mental realm or your mental faculty into your soul, it creates a bypass and goes straight into your soul from your body without filtering. That effect is made possible because of portals, and that's what I want to address. There are certain portals in your system, your physical body, that creates an introduction or a canal right into your soul, beating your mental realm or your mind. And so you physically get attracted to someone, you sexually get excited, and then you skip the process of thinking about the consequences of what it is to come. Because at that moment you are overly excited. Sometimes you even forget to close the door. That is because at that moment the portal is open, and so it reroutes itself over your mental faculties, the place of reasoning, right into your soul, and your emotions are excited and the will is taken, and then you commit the act. And that is why, if you read the good book, the Bible, it says that you don't need to physically perform the sexual act to be guilty of it. Once a man looks at a woman lustfully, right from the eyes, lustfully happening in your soul, you've committed the act, because there's a channel straight into your soul. It also says that one of the things that you have to do when it comes to sexual temptations is not to stand there and pray, but to flee. In other words, the solution is physical. It's either you are in the presence of the temptation, or you exit or flee from the temptation. So back to my point. What is being exchanged? Data and information is being exchanged whenever you are engaged in sexual intercourse. This is why you have to be very careful about the person you sleep with, because it's not just having sexual fantasies and excitement and pleasure. It is you giving a part of your soul as a result of exchange of data. So a practical explanation is everybody has different levels of soul frequency, right? So the quality of your soul is summed up in the quality of information you have, the quality of data that makes up your soul, okay? And so if you have a very high frequency as far as your soul is concerned, and I've said in previous videos that a soul can expand itself because it acts like a wave that you cannot see with your eyes, that can influence itself beyond the physical body of man. That's why when you sleep, you can find yourself in other places doing activities whilst your physical body is on your bed. So when you have a high frequency as far as your soul is concerned, and then you meet someone with a lower frequency and you want to sexually engage with that person, you definitely know that an exchange is going to take place. But the truth is that data is going to be siphoned from a place of higher frequency to a place of lower frequency, a place of high quality of the soul to a place of low quality of the soul. And that's why sometimes your life is going so well until you met up with somebody whose life is actually finding its feet. And then in no time, you realize that your life is going south. It's because something has been taken away from your soul. And that's why I'm saying that you should be very careful with the people you engage with sexually. You have to be deliberate and intentional about it. The next thing I would like to address when it comes to sexual portals is that knowing that there's a presence of a portal that is able to bypass your thinking realm or your mental realm or your mind interface, you would have to be extra cautious even with the environment you find yourself and the company you keep. Because sometimes you fall into temptations and by the time you realize you've committed the act which you didn't intend to. And that's why people who are seemingly very disciplined can easily fall victim to some sexual engagement that brings shame to them. And so this is what I want you to think about as a person, as a human being with sexual needs. And in this case, I'm addressing sexual intercourse between a male and a female. This is a high disclaimer because we live in a very funny world where people are confused about their sexuality and all of that. So I have to be very specific what this video seeks to address. Okay? So understanding this whole thing about sexual portals, right, gives you an advantage of who you bring into your circles, who you're intentional about, who you want to invest your emotions into, where you find yourself, and the company you keep. Because once you understand that beyond exchange of physical fluids and viruses and diseases, you are also exchanging in the soul realm data and information. And so it's either a loss or a profit to you. And if we go into spiritual matters, you realize that anytime people really want to get access to people of high stars, high quality, great blessing and glory upon their life, they sexually trap them. They engage in something sexual with them so that it diminishes their power and their energy levels. Because if you're not giving, you're taking. There's always an exchange, and this is what I want you to put at the back of your mind. I'll leave you with this. Think deeply about it. I'm Quist, your mind surgeon, and let your mind do the conversations. Next time, I'll come back again addressing another portal. Don't go away. Subscribe to this channel. Comment, like, and share. And I love you. I'm out.